Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of G&G News. So Sony unveils the mini PlayStation Classic console. Look how small that looks. Sony has announced a miniature version of the PlayStation console, which originally launched in 1994. The mini version will come with 20 retro titles, including Final Fantasy VII and Tekken 3. The PlayStation Classic is around half the size of the original and is due to launch on 3rd of December. One expert said nostalgia was driving interest in retro consoles, which offers a means of making historical video games more accessible. The console is the first of Sony's video game machines to be given this kind of compact makeover. Nintendo has previously made the mini version of the NES and the SNES. I do have the SNES. It is great fun. It is a lot cheaper than buying the original console, but I would implore people to try and buy the original consoles because you have then the option of buying more games than what's pre-installed on the classic retro consoles that they're now re-bringing out. Um, anyways, which also includes a set of pre-loaded classic games. Among other titles to be featured on Sony's new system are Ridge Racer Type 4, the role-playing game Wild Arms, and the first-person platform jumping Flash. The device will retail for $89.99, just under £90, and as well as the mini console, a HDMI cable for connecting to a TV and two wire controllers will be included. The reason why it includes a HDMI cable and has a HDMI port is because most newer TVs use a HDMI port. Plus, this will give you a crisper image. It's nice that it's included with two controllers. They did the same for the SNES. The design of the console is faithful to the original, even featuring a disc eject button despite the lack of an actual disc reader. They did the same thing with this, with the SNES. They had a cartridge slot which just didn't do anything, but they just kept it on there just for the sake of it. Instead, pressing the button will swap the game being played for another. The release date will mark exactly 24 years since the launch of the first PlayStation, which went on sale in Japan on the 3rd of December 1994. It was launched in the UK the following September. So there wasn't that much of an actual gap between it being launched in Japan and then the UK. So clunky buttons, it's changed everything. It says games journalist Chella Ranaman. About the original PlayStation, it's become part of lad culture. For better or worse, it became part of youth culture. It was the first console I owned. Sony did an incredible marketing campaign tapping into club culture to make games cool. It became a lifestyle thing for people in their 20s. Also, as well, some of Sony's early 90 adverts were really weird and captivating. Miss Raman argued that the retro console created by Nintendo and Sony appealed to the nostalgia that people have for the 1980s and the 1990s. From pop music to TV shows like Stranger Things, they have the aesthetic people want from older technology. There's something charming in the huge clunky buttons. Also, retro systems offer a way for a new generation to play a canon of iconic games. The industry is getting older, so we do need to find a way to keep an archive of our history. So, what do you think about this, guys? Do you think that this is good that Sony has made, a mini version of their console? Funny enough, they made a mini version of their console years ago. It was called the PS1. Okay, it didn't have pre-installed games on it, but it was a smaller version of the PlayStation. Um, and I remember you could have this really cool screen on attached to the console, and you could like play it in a car. But anyways, what do you think of this? I think this is pretty cool. I think that this will teach, as they said, a lot of kids about classic consoles and retro nostalgia history. But like I said, I would implore people to try and buy the original consoles if you can, because you have the option of like having a memory card, having more than two controllers, buying more games and stuff. But I can understand why this would suit a lot of people because it's just a case of spending £90, or maybe a little bit more, depending on the retailer, and having some classic retro gaming in your home. I did the exact same thing with the Super Nintendo Entertainment Classic Mini System, um, and that cost me £80, and I ended up getting that from CX, and I love that little device. And they're so easy to plug up. I'm assuming the Sony PlayStation Mini will be the same. Essentially, you would plug it in via a HDMI cable. The SNES is the power source for it is basically just standard micro USB. So I'm assuming the PlayStation will be the same. But it says here the Sony PlayStation Classic is 45% smaller than the original, so that is pretty small. And judging by the size of it in that guy's hand, this is not going to be a massive console. So for space wise, this will be good. You could essentially get like a load of these mini consoles and just have them all on, one shelf or something underneath your TV. But yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below, because now I'm really excited that they've done this, but I really want Nintendo now to fire back with like a mini Nintendo 64. I would buy that straight away. So thanks for watching another episode of GNG News. I will catch up with you all very, very soon. If you want me to continue making videos like this, please leave a like or a comment, and I will see you all in another video. Bye bye, guys.